And welcome into the Make the Money and Run podcast, sponsored by the Britannia Arms of Cupertino, Britannia Arms of Capitola. Thanks to the Britannia Arms last Sunday for hosting us in Cupertino. I'll be there this Sunday afternoon, Sunday early morning on the West Coast for NFL pregame kickoff. Thanks to them for sponsoring as well. And also thanks to SuperDraft Pro for also sponsoring. Download the app anywhere you get your, anywhere on any smart device. Also, you can go to superdraftpro.com/Vparty Sports. Vasu Vaddiparty, our intern Nick Robinson, welcoming in Joe Madden from Pick Dogs, all the way from Calgary. Hopefully the weather's up there good going up there. How you doing, Joe? Good to see you.
Don't even get me started on the weather. It is minus 22 and the snow is blowing. So with the wind chill, I bet you it's about minus 135. It feels like minus 35.
I'll bet. I know that's not your unit line, so I'm sure you're doing better than that instead of the
Absolutely.
We'll figure that out in a second. All right, we're here every Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 3 o'clock on Mondays, 1 o'clock Eastern on today and tomorrow for the Friday football show, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter Live, and don't forget our social media selections. We call them SMS for the kids nowadays. We know what SMS is, so social media selections, 6 o'clock Eastern every day on Instagram and Facebook. And again, thanks to Britannia Arms of Cupertino, Capitola, and also the Super Draft Pro app as well, too. All right. First of all, Joe, let's get to some serious stuff here. You're in Calgary. Calgary Flames having a rough time. Canadian teams are having a rough time with COVID. You're a big hockey fan. I love hockey. I know we're going through COVID, and there's bigger problems than just a hockey game right now. But can you kind of give us an update on what's going on in Calgary with the Flames and maybe just Canada in general for your COVID situations?
Yeah, so it's getting really bad with this Flames team. When I look at it, I think there was like 27 the last time I looked between players and traveling members of their team. I don't think we're going to see them back before the new year. I honestly don't. Things aren't looking great. You know, there's talks of the borders being closed back down as well. So I don't know. I'm not liking what I'm seeing, you guys. I'm worried about sports as a whole. The NHL did say they're not looking at closing things down, but I don't see the Flames getting back anytime soon.
Well, the NFL will not, because they've got 53 guys and it's always next man up, and we'll get to that in a second. But let's get a little hockey take here before I let Nick get in here. The Kings are hot. They just beat Tampa. They're taking on Florida. Ottawa came off COVID. They're going to play Tampa Bay tonight. The Sharks down here where I live, they've been off and on, but they've got Vancouver who's been playing pretty well too. So just a general sense of hockey right now, Joe, as we look through the season. Florida, Tampa in the East, and then in the West, it's been Minnesota. It's been Minnesota and Edmonton before the 6-game losing streak, and Calgary, of course, was playing well too. But there's some hot teams in the NHL right now, and I know you like to pick your hockey games.
Yeah, there definitely is. But I think this is really, you need to put your bets in later than we normally would have. Look for these teams, look for who's going to be out. Looking at this injury list and who is out because of COVID is so important right now, because we're seeing late minute people added to protocols. You know, it's crazy. You look at the Senators team, though, coming out against the Lightning. This is a revenge spot for the Lightning in this one. You know, they lost the last game to the Senators in a game that they were the favorite. They got shut out in that one, 4-0. You know, the Senators aren't going to lay down. I know they're coming in with some COVID question marks themselves, but I think this is one I'm looking at being a tighter game than this line represents. I wouldn't touch the Lightning at minus 241 is what I'm seeing it at on my book. Maybe puck line this one, you guys. If you're looking at something, both these teams do trend to that over. Solid offensive play out of both these teams as of late. So,
are we seeing more overs? Are we seeing more overs than unders in hockey overall this year?
Yeah, we're seeing quite a few of these overs. I keep wondering when the books are going to adjust. We look at this Edmonton Oilers game, and this line has moved quite a bit. I believe it opened at 5.5. It's now up to 6.5. This is one I am completely staying off. It depends what Edmonton Oilers team is going to come out of the dressing room today. Edmonton
6-game losing streak, or the ones that were hot before?
Absolutely. If you told me before Edmonton would lose 5 home games in a row, I would have told you were crazy. I would have bet, the house on it. But this Edmonton Oilers team just isn't coming out to play at all. But we're looking at a Columbus Blue Jackets team that is in the same situation. They're 0-4 in their last 4 meetings against the Oilers. So this is a good situation for this Edmonton Oilers team to finally get a home win, to start pulling stuff together. Minus 200 favorites. So no way I'm dropping a dime on that. And with this total, it's just going up 6.5 now, you guys. It's really high on that, but it does trend to the over for these teams, under between these two actually when they match up. 4-0 to that under.
Our guest Joe Madden of Pick Dogs. You can catch her every day. Are you 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock West Coast on YouTube? Is that right?
Okay, so it is 11 a.m. Eastern on YouTube. I do have, we have a new hockey show that started as well, and that is at 3:30 Eastern as well.
Oh, good. Terrific. We'll keep pumping it out. We'll promote it. All right, go ahead, Nick. You got any hockey stuff for Joe before we switch over to football?
For me, not 100%, more NBA and football, but I also do like the Edmonton Oilers today. I did hear they're on a long losing streak, and I know Connor McDavid's really talented. He's probably not going to let his team lose too many more, so I like them as well.
Yeah, when we look at this team, it's really interesting to see how they've trended down. We have Connor McDavid and Draisaitl, two of the top players for MVP in the whole league, and their team is on a losing streak. So something does have to turn around for this team. If it will be tonight against the Blue Jackets, we'll see. Just a little bit high on the juice there.
Shows how much of a team sport it is.
Absolutely, it does.
All right, well, the Toronto Maple Leafs, 42 points, Florida at 40. What a crazy year they've had. 40 points for Tampa, and then 41 for the Rangers and the Capitals. Kind of surprised about the Rangers for me. And then Minnesota, 39, St. Louis, 37, Colorado, 36 points, Nashville, 35. And then the West over here, the big shock to me, and I'm friends with their play-by-play announcer, John Allris, but the Anaheim Ducks at 39 points have played really well because they could not put any pucks in the net last year at all, or even 2 years ago. They had a tough time scoring at all, but they got the win last night. I was high on them last night at about $1.60. So what do you like out of the top hockey teams right now? Any of these surprises to you? And maybe on the bad end too, who's surprising you on the negative side?
Yeah, kind of surprised at how much these Ducks are quacking. I'm with you on that. I didn't see them coming out so hard. We've had a lot of teams have like rough starts. We had the Flyers on a real rough start. We had the Islanders. Man, did they ever get destroyed to start their season? I'm looking for this team to start trending in the right direction, actually. So, just a couple of surprises, not really surprised with who is at the top. You know, we have our typical teams that just, they do well season in and out.
I'm a little surprised at the Rangers. I was kind of curious about how their goaltending was going to be this year, considering Lundqvist retired. And then Washington, they lost to Pittsburgh the other day. Pittsburgh's getting a little hot. But anyway, like we said, a lot of things going on in hockey. The Flames added 2 more to the protocol list, making it 19 now. Ottawa just came off. Nashville went on. In the NBA, the Bulls postponed their 2 games. And then, of course, Baker Mayfield and Nick's girlfriends at the University of Oregon are all calling him right now. Browns and quarterback coach, part of 13 players and coaches for the Cleveland Browns, and they have a Saturday game against the Raiders. All right, let's get to it. Joe Madden, our guest of Pick Dogs here, 11 Eastern, and then new hockey show. Do you have a name of the hockey show? I didn't hear the name.
Yeah, it's called Puckin' Crazy.
Puckin' Crazy. I like it, Joe. Very creative. You come up with these names yourself?
You know what? Between myself and my boss, he thought it would be great if we had a Puckin' Crazy section, and I'm like, then let's call the show Puckin' Crazy.
There you go.
So I'm loving it. It's a lot of fun. We've only had 2 episodes. 3rd episode today, live on YouTube weekdays at 3:30 Eastern. So lots of fun. I get to say you're Puckin' Crazy, and what is more fun than that?
What's the YouTube channel? Is it Pick Dogs?
Yeah, it's on the Pick Dogs YouTube channel.
All right, that's PICKDAWGZ, right?
That is correct.
All right, I pay attention every once in a while, Joe. Come on, give me a little credit.
I know, I'm proud of you, Vasu.
All right, I appreciate that. Well, that's good. You know, I got my Christmas wish right there. Somebody's proud of me. I'm good. All right, Thursday night football. Thursday night football. Joe Madden, very, very well publicized, at least through our Stables Media Group and our Make the Money and Run group. A very big San Diego and Los Angeles Chargers fan for years and years and years. This is about as big a matchup this late in the year for the Kansas City Chiefs and the LA Chargers. Of course, the Chiefs got beat. LA beat them 30-24 back in week 4. I did a lot of research on this morning. You're going to see as we go through this here. 9-4 for for the Chiefs, 8-5 for the Chargers. Chargers won the earlier matchup. They got 4 turnovers, 2 Mahomes interceptions, and 2 fumble recoveries. I'll start with you, Joe. You're the Chargers fan. How about they're getting 3 points because we know the Chiefs are hot right now. But your Chargers, I like them tonight at home. They play well at home.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And I know KC has come in and normally beat the Chargers at home, but I think this is a different beast you're looking at tonight with this game. Between Justin Herbert and Mahomes, you're going to have a battle on your hands. And I think the Chargers keep it tight. I'm loving them plus the points. Anytime you can get a home team plus the points, especially in a rivalry game, that's the first thing I'm looking at. And we look at all the stats and, the Chargers on a Thursday night game, they're 5-1 against the spread. They're also 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 versus the AFC West. I see this one being one they keep tight. I think it's going to be high scoring, complete battle here as both teams so hungry for this win in the division.
Go ahead, Nick. I know you like the Chargers a little bit tonight too.
Yeah, I'm also with Joe on this one. The one that screams out to me is the over 52.5. Usually on Thursday night games, defenses are tired coming off a few days of rest, and these are just 2 high-powered offenses. I think Herbert's making a late push for MVP. I was lucky to watch him 2 years in University of Oregon, one of the most talented quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life. And I think the Chargers also at plus 3.5 now. I think they're plus 3 before, but the line's moving a lot, slowly moving in their direction. I think 3.5 is a fantastic value because I think it's going to be a field goal game either way. It's going to be a close game. I project it to be like 38-35, high scoring shootout, tired defenses, high powered offense.
1:13 Eastern time in the afternoon before Nick mentioned a University of Oregon reference. Proud of his school right there. So we have to shout that out at that point. So we knew we were going to get one in at some point. So we haven't even got to college yet. Let me give you some numbers here. I've been tracking them. 109 and 99 are the underdogs this year. 94 and 111 overs versus unders. Thursday night, 8-8. 8-8. I do the dogs first, so that's even through the first weeks, including the 3 Thanksgiving games. But 4-10 on the over-unders, and then the weeks 3 to 8 overall were all under, and then 2 and 5 over-under the last 7 Thursdays, including the 3 on Thanksgiving. And the big one right here that I'm looking at, Chiefs started 2-3, have gone 7-1 since, but only 5-3 as a favorite. And their defense has picked up the last 6 weeks. This is what scares me a little bit about the Chiefs tonight, and that's why they're favored. 1 over 6 unders because that defense has played well. Joe, 197 points scored, 105 points allowed in this streak for the Kansas City Chiefs, and only 27 points since their last loss at Tennessee, or their only loss since that bad start. 27 points allowed in the last 3 games, 41 in the last 4, 48 in the last 5, 65 in the last 6 since the Tennessee loss. So tell me why I'm taking San Diego, Joe.
Yeah, because the Chiefs
or LA.
suck.
I'm sorry, Los Angeles. I'm sorry.
No, I'm not going with the Chiefs. There's absolutely no way. As a Bolts fan,
Well,
this rivalry
know that.
is way too strong. We look at this Chiefs team to start this season. They were one of the worst cover teams out there. Yes, they're getting the wins. They're not getting the covers. In the last 4 meetings with the Chargers, they're 0-3-1 against that spread. This game is too important. Both defenses are going to step up. Yes, both offenses are going to step up harder, I believe, in this one. I think Nick is right with this over. We look at this over, and these 2 teams can get over this 52. I know the line has moved significantly. I really loved it at 49.5. 52.5, I'm still liking. I still think we see a high scoring one. I just look at this Chiefs team, and they have all the ability to get a nice, big, huge win here, but they are in LA. This is the Chargers. They don't have an official home. It is their home. It doesn't feel like their home anymore. Sharing the stadium here with the Rams, but they will have some support in the stands, maybe more KC fans there. We all know it as a Chargers fan, what happens in these stadiums. But Justin Herbert is unfazed. This quarterback is the real deal. He is going to be Hall of Fame. Match him up against Mahomes. We're in for a shootout tonight.
All right, Herbert, 281, 4 touchdowns in the win against Kansas City. They held Mahomes to 260 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions in that game. All right, I'm going to throw some Chargers numbers out here for both of you, and you can decipher it however you want. I do like the Chargers. I will say that. We'll have it at 6 o'clock on the social media selections. 4-1 start for the Chargers. They scored 142, gave up 116. The 2 losses they had were to the Ravens and Pats at home. They lost one, won one, the next 4, so 2-2 in that stretch, and then this 2-game winning streak, 78 points to 43 against the Bengals, which surprised me because I thought Cincinnati was playing hot. And then, of course, the Giants are the Giants. 4-1 against the spread in the first 5 games, 3-5 against since, but 3-1 as a dog this year. 1-4 over under. Their defense played well when they started the year at 4-1, but 5 overs, 3 unders the next day of where they are. So 4-4 since then, and now they're 8-5. But a huge game. If they win tonight, they take over first place, as you know, because of the head-to-head, and they'll be up there in the AFC in Kansas City after that bad start. And this will only be their second loss if they do. But I'm a big Justin Herbert guy. I'm a big Eckler guy. I like the way their defense is playing. I can't really count the Chiefs game against the Raiders because this is about the time every year the Raiders start to falter after their 5-2 start. So there's the numbers for you, Joe. So I know you like the Chargers as a fan, but give me one analysis, analytical
against
thing
the
to
Chiefs.
look at.
Okay, let's go against the Chiefs. Against the AFC West, they are 4-10 against the spread in their last 14 against the AFC West. They are, they're the Chiefs.
You just don't like them.
They're 1-6 against the spread in their last 7 games after scoring more than 30 points in the previous. So we see them come in off that blowout against the Raiders, come into this game. And I don't think they have what it takes in this one to stop Justin Herbert. I really don't. Their defense is playing better. Their defense is what's held them in these games. They could possibly get the win here, you guys. I think it's the Chargers game to lose. We know with this Chargers team, they come into games and they are so good at just messing something up and giving it away at the end. Do I think it will happen? No, I think this is too important. I think we're not going to see those stupid penalties. We look at this KC team, they are getting some stupid penalties, and it could happen in this one. I really do think it comes down to the wire. Whoever has that ball last, and you know what? I think it's a 2-point game. I don't see it a 3.5-point game. So I'd be taking
either. And I love Justin Herbert. I've loved Justin Herbert since I saw him in college, and I watched him the last 2 years, and he's going to be the quarterback with the most touchdowns in his first 2 seasons. I forgot who it was that he was going to beat, but I like them the way they're going. And if they play like they did against Cincinnati, they had the Giants last week, and they're home. They didn't have to travel. Kansas City has to travel from Midwest to West, so that could be something as well too with these Thursday night games. All right, what do you got going on Pick Dogs, Joe, before we let you go?
I got tons going on. If you guys are looking for my premium picks, you can head on over there. I have 3 picks in the NHL for tonight, and then my best bet in this Thursday night football game. Almost said Monday. Every day feels like it's rolling into one. And then you guys, I do halftime bets on the Pick Dogs YouTube channel at halftime of these primetime games. So join me tonight. Halftime bets have been complete straight money. I wish we kept our records of those, but those are completely free. You just jump on at the half whenever that hits, and I'll be there giving you that second half bets.
At the Joe Madden on Twitter, at the Joe Madden on Instagram as well too. You can find her, and of course Pick Dogs on YouTube. Joe, late notice. Appreciate it. Always appreciate you. Thank you for coming on. Happy holidays to you. Talk soon, okay?
Yeah, happy holidays to you both, and thank you so much for having me on. It was an honor.
Okay, Joe. Thank you. Have a good
Bye,
day.
guys.
We'll talk to you soon. All right, Nick. She likes the Chargers. Of course, she's a fan of the Chargers. I mean, I'm a fan of Justin Herbert too.
Oh yeah,
Plus
me too.
3. I mean, these are tough numbers to go. I mean, I love Joe, but these are tough numbers to go against Kansas City. The way these last 8 games have gone for them defensively. I mean, you're looking at 197 to 105. That's in plus 88 point difference, plus 88 points for Kansas City in their last 6 games. That's an average of almost 14 points, 14-point difference per game average. And that's tough to go against, but it is a road game. Chargers have not been a home dog yet this year, so this will be a good chance, and they are pretty good as a dog to begin with. They had the game at Washington. They had the game against Philly. That was a pick'em game. They had the only dog game that they got blown out by was the Ravens this year. So that's what we're looking at tonight. But I'm sticking strong, and my line will not come off with 3. They just changed the money on it. So I have the Chargers plus 3. You have 3.5. I know Joe said 3.5 as well too. So that's where we're going to be at that right now. So we got a lot to talk about regarding that. We'll hit the NFL, complete NFL games tomorrow. In fact, let's hit a couple of them right now. Just just looking at the overview, of course, we'll have the Friday football show tomorrow at 1 Eastern. Charlie O will be back with us. But some of the games going on this week, the COVID issue in Cleveland, they've got the Raiders, Patriots, Colts. That's on Saturday, both on the NFL Network. And then some of the other games, 12 teams in the NFC are still eligible for playoffs, the way the 17-game schedule is and the extra playoff spots. So you got Patriots, Colts, that means a lot. The Raiders and Browns, that means a lot. Panthers and Bills, the way the Bills have played lately, that means a lot. Cardinals, they're trying to hold on to the number 1 seed. Even the Dolphins have won 5 in a row. They're 6-7. Cowboys, Giants, always a big one. Eagles, Washington football team, that's a huge game. Both of those teams are 6-7. Titans, Steelers, Bengals, Broncos, Falcons, 49ers is a huge game, 7-6 versus 6-7. Seahawks trying to not go below 500 at 5-8. The Rams, with that big win on Monday night, they were only 1 game back of Arizona. And then the Buccaneers and Saints on Sunday night, and the Packers and Ravens, the late game on Sunday afternoon. Fox has the late games, and even Minnesota and Chicago on Monday night. Where do you start, Nick, in terms of games you like? You don't have to pick games now. We'll do that tomorrow. But and Sunday, don't forget on social media selections, we do it 3 times on Saturday and twice on Sundays as well, too. But some of these games that are coming up this week, and we're in week 15, and there's still 9 million ramifications that are going on playoff-wise, Nick.
It's probably going to be the craziest finish we've ever seen in the NFL, given how close teams are. People just keep getting bumped in and out of the wild card, the top of the division. It's just it's the craziest thing I've ever seen personally. It's what stands out to me is the Bills and their downfall, but I think they're too good of a team not to make the playoffs. I think the Bills over the Panthers at 10.5 might be my bet of the week. I think they're just going to steamroll over the Panthers. Cam Newton said he was back, but I don't think he's back. He looks atrocious. The Bills at home sometimes just steamroll teams. I think that's a good game to bet. Also, the Browns Raiders. I love me the Raiders. I don't think Case Keenum's going to be able to come out firing against the Raiders. I think also the under is a great bet. Let me see where the under. It's set at 38.5, which is really low, but the weather is going to be bad in Cleveland. Cleveland's going to be running the game the entire time with Chubb. I know Jacobs is going to get the ball a lot. I think that's just going to be running back and forth, maybe like a 17-10 kind of feel game. So there's a few value picks I see in this day, especially on Saturday. I think both of those unders are looking good. I think it's just going to be mostly running. Jonathan Taylor, Ramondre Stevenson, Harris, all those running backs are just going to be getting the rock game in and game out to end the year.
All right, Vasu Vaddiparty, our intern Nick Robinson with us on the Make the Money and Run podcast. Charlie O on assignment. He's got some family stuff that he's taking care of. He'll be back with us tomorrow for the Friday football show. If you missed it, Joe Madden, you can download and subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts on Apple, Google, iHeart, Spotify, SoundCloud. And then, of course, you can catch us on Facebook and Instagram, social media selections every day by 6 Eastern, 3 times on Saturday. We got big college basketball coming up. Although this next week and a half, not really a lot of college basketball, the Christmas tournaments, but we will have some day games to go over at that point as well, too. All right, let's hit some bowl games here real quick. The bowl games are going to start tomorrow. You got 2 games going. The Bahamas Bowl, Toledo, Middle Tennessee State, and the Cure Bowl, Northern Illinois, Coastal Carolina. It's pretty early for the bowl season. We know the semifinal games. We don't know who's going to play here or there for these college football teams because of their draft status, coaches leaving, etc. 2 games tomorrow and then 6 on Saturday. Western Kentucky, Appalachian State, UTEP, Fresno State, UAB, BYU, Eastern Michigan, Liberty, Utah State, Oregon State down there in SoFi. They might be in Carson, actually. Let me check this here real quick. Yeah, they're in Inglewood, so they're going to be at SoFi. Utah State, that's the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl, by the way. Good for Jimmy Kimmel to get a bowl. And then Louisiana, Lafayette, and Marshall round out the Saturday schedule. So we got 2 days of bowl games coming up, 8 games, Nick. I know you've looked at it a little bit. What do you think about some of these bowl games going in?
I like Fresno State a lot against UTEP. Fresno State's been on an absolute burner right now, winning 4 of their last 5. And they've been playing some pretty good teams. San Jose State's been a little bit better, but they're not the best competition. But also looking at UTEP, they've been really, really bad. They've lost also 4 of their last 5. So I think Fresno State at minus 11.5. I think they can win by 14 plus easily in this one. Also, another one is BYU. 7 points seems like it's too little, especially against UAB, who has some talent and has been playing better, but BYU is just on fire, and they've been beating teams to the ground like USC, UVA. Those are some pretty high competition there. So I love BYU at the spread. I think they can take this one easily.
Toledo plays Middle Tennessee State. That game will go off at noon Eastern, 9 o'clock West Coast time. We'll be on the air when that game starts. So the Bahama Bulls, check our social media if we have any selections on that. Maybe today I'll get Charlie. If we've got a pick on that game, we'll put it out there today. But Northern Illinois, Coastal Carolina tomorrow at 6 Eastern, 3 o'clock on ESPN2. And then we'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll get a full preview into the bowl games tomorrow. But Utah State getting 7 points against Oregon State. That might be a little high for Oregon State right there. And then
I agree.
BYU, I like BYU in that situation as well too. And then the next bowl game after that will be Monday morning our time, 11:30 a.m. So we will be on the air when that game starts on Monday at 2:30 Eastern. We'll be on the air at 3 o'clock with the Make the Money and Run podcast. All right, when we come back in 30 seconds, we'll talk a little NHL, some college basketball, and some NBA. We've already talked some NHL. We'll hit some more NHL, and then we'll have some college basketball to go to. The Make the Money and Run podcast, sponsored by the Britannia Arms of Capitola and Cupertino. Don't forget, I'll be in Capitola on Sunday morning, 9:45, for about a 45-minute pregame kickoff show. We'll get all 7 games in before kickoff at 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock on the West. And then after the break, we'll get to the afternoon games as well, too. So come on down if you live in the area. If not, we'll have the link for everybody to join in. We want to meet everybody that supports our show. Want to be able to say hi. And if you have questions or comments, you can come on, and we'll have the link out on Saturday and Sunday for everybody to come on as well. Maybe tomorrow, if I get the link up, we'll get it up for everybody to come on and ask questions or make comments right here live on the show. And hopefully, hey, are you going to come down Sunday?
I am thinking about it. That would be awesome. It's only a 30-minute drive, so I should.
Yes, it is.
Also, we got some quick breaking news. TJ Hawkinson just got ruled out, so another Lion that's done. So Lions get even worse.
Well, that'll all come on the Friday football show tomorrow. When we come back in 30 seconds, we will talk NBA and some college basketball, and we will get into some NHL before we close out. Vasu, Vaddiparty, Intern Nic Robinson, Charlie O on assignment. Again, thanks to Joe Madden. We're back in 30 seconds with the Make the Money and Run podcast. All right, welcome back to the Make the Money and Run podcast for this Thursday, December 16th, sponsored by the Britannia Arms of Capitola and Cupertino. Once again, I'll be live in Capitola on this Sunday, 12:45 pregame show Eastern, 9:45. Come on down to Northern California's best British pub and restaurant, breakfast, lunch, all the British pub and drink, food and drink you can get. The NFL Sunday Ticket very prominently featured 7 games this Sunday. We'll already have 3 games done by then, so we'll review and preview the 7 games. Charlie O will join me on the internet, and hopefully Nick will come down to Capitola and we can have our show down there. All right, we move on to some NBA action. Obviously, the news of the week starts on Tuesday night in New York with Stephen Curry breaking the all-time three-point field goal record. They won the game. They covered the game 105-96. That would have made it a little bit more sweeter that they got the win. They had a tough game against Indiana the night before, and here we are, Nick, and you're a big Warriors guy. We all live in the Bay Area, and they're all 23-5 for Golden State. Phoenix right on their heels at 22-5. Suns go to overtime to beat Portland on Tuesday night. The Nets also won in overtime on Tuesday night as well, too. So not that many games. Of course, we had the Bulls and the Pistons postponed on Tuesday night. They're going through COVID issues. Their next game tonight was also postponed with, I believe it's Toronto that they had. Yeah, they had Toronto tonight. That game is postponed, but 4 other games on the board tonight. The Indiana Pacers are 10.5-point favorites against the Pistons. The 76ers, I believe they're going to get a full Embiid back. I don't know who's sitting for the Nets right now. Let's look that up as we look.
I believe Harden.
Korkmaz is day-to-day. Niang is out. Springer is out. Bembry, Javon Carter, James Johnson. James Harden's out with COVID, and Bruce Brown is out as well with COVID too. So Kevin Durant's going to have to carry the load. 1.5-point favorite with 216 the total against the Sixers. The Knicks 4.5, 214 at Houston. Don't sleep on the Rockets right now. I think the Knicks are coming back to reality. And those Phoenix Suns, they're right there with the Warriors, 22-5 against a pretty good Wizards team, but they got hammered yesterday in Sacramento, and they're a 9-point favorite, 213. So what are you looking at on Thursday here, Nick, as far as the NBA?
Yeah, so I love the 76ers at -1.5. I think that's a lot of value.
They're plus 1.5.
They're plus, wow, even better. I'll take them at a plus 110, I'm assuming then. I think that's a lot of value. I know Embiid's back. The Nets don't have a center. The Nets don't have a center at all. Embiid's going to absolutely attack the paint. I don't even know who their starting center is right now with DeAndre Jordan out and a bunch of
Aldridge. They've been going with Aldridge or Griffin, but they've been sitting Griffin. So basically, it's been LaMarcus Aldridge. Bruce Brown has been the power forward, and Durant's the 3 position right there. But they also are going to lose a couple of bench guys, and of course, the Beard is out too as well with the COVID issues. Obviously, we hope everybody feels better from COVID. We don't want to see players out. It's bad for the league when we see players out like this. So let's get everybody healthy. Let's get through this, and then we'll figure this out. But some interesting games tonight, and you know what? We'll hit tomorrow a little bit too because tomorrow's Friday football show. Nuggets and Hawks, pretty good game tomorrow. Warriors, Celtics. They've had 2 days off since the Curry record on Tuesday night in New York. Bucks without Giannis. He's on COVID protocol right now. They still smashed the Pacers last night. Lakers are red hot now. They won last night at Dallas. I know Dallas didn't have Luka, but Austin Reeves, if you hadn't heard of Austin Reeves, he was a big star at Oklahoma. It's a game-winning 3 in overtime to beat the Mavericks and cover the -2 there. And then the Trailblazers, boy, they're in a world of hurt right now with no McCollum, but Lillard's back right now. But a lot of people, Nick, and I want to get your opinion on this. They don't play tonight; they play tomorrow. But the Utah Jazz are not getting a lot of love here. And they're 3rd in the West because it's been all about the Warriors and the Suns. But they're 20-7, and they're really good. And the way they played the Clippers, I know they had no Paul George. The line went all the way up to 13 last night. I was a little worried there because they were down early in the game, but they were one of my favorite picks last night. It helped me to a 4-1 night. Utah Jazz, your thoughts? I know you've seen it. I know you see quite a bit of them in Oregon. They're kind of local as far as Oregon teams go with the Blazers out there.
Yeah, the Jazz are always a team that kind of flies under the radar. No one really talks about them, but they're one of the most talented teams out there. Rudy Gobert is always a depoy candidate, one of the best centers in the league. No one can really get past him in the paint. Donovan Mitchell is an elite shot maker. He's got all the tools to be a future Hall of Famer, I think. And they've got a lot of pieces around them, and their chemistry is just exquisite. I think they're one of the most well-rounded teams in the NBA, and they're just a lock for a top 5 seed every single year, as long as they have Gobert in his prime, Mitchell about to enter his prime. Clarkson's a good 6th man. No one talks about this team, but I love attacking the Jazz almost every night because they're not too heavy favorites because Vegas doesn't really love them, but they always find a way to just win by 10 plus every time, especially at home.
I think they do love them because these lines are starting to get to 9.5 and 10. It started at 9.5 and went all the way.
Finally, it's about time.
All the way to 13. All right, let's get some NBA news and notes here real quick here. The Cavaliers. How about the Cavaliers? Boy, nobody thought much of them. They're 18-12, playing well. I know it's Houston, but I got a good feeling about Houston tonight. That'll be social media selections by 6 o'clock. We'll have all our selections for this Thursday by 6 Eastern and all the latest news. But the Cleveland Cavaliers have been clearly the biggest surprise to me in the East. At 18-12, they don't even have Colin Sexton on the floor. Darius Garland's playing well. And Evan Mobley, who I watched every game of his at USC, and you could tell that he was a player. They whooped him by 35 points last night, 124-89 over Houston. Lakers we talked about, they were Luka less than Dallas, but Austin Reeves hits the game-winning 3 in overtime. The Bucks have COVID issues. They still beat Indiana. The Bucks were a 2-point underdog at home. That never happens. And then Denver loses to Minnesota. That's a little surprising, but Minnesota's played better this year. They didn't have D'Angelo Russell, which I thought a 4-point spread, and Jokic is back. And then, of course, we talked about the Jazz again with the win over the Clippers last night. No Paul George. Of course, they've got issues going on. And by the way, Danny Ainge joins the Utah Jazz front office. He's going to be the new CEO, so the rich keep getting richer from that standpoint. Danny Ainge, of course, for those that are old enough to remember, he was a big star at BYU and also at third baseman for the Toronto Blue Jays before he decided to go into basketball as well, too. I don't know if you knew that, Nick, but Danny Ainge played 2 years of third base for the Toronto Blue Jays. So he's a solid athlete. And by the way, he's a scratch golfer, too. So everything he does is pretty much really good. And his dad lives down here in Monterey. I've had the fortune to be around him a couple of times, too. So he knows this area quite a bit. But let's take a look at the NBA, and we look at the standings here a little bit. I mean, those Cavaliers, they're fourth. That's a home seed in the East, 18-12. They're behind Chicago. Of course, Chicago's going through COVID right now. Milwaukee, 19-11. We thought Milwaukee would get better. I didn't know if they would be the second best team. I thought they were better than Chicago, and they are right now. And then Brooklyn, even with all the struggles, now there's the potential rumored of Kyrie Irving maybe being traded, 20-8 for the Brooklyn Nets. They're the only team in the East that doesn't have double-digit losses yet. And then you look at Philadelphia, Washington, Atlanta, and Boston rounding out the top 10 from 7-10. So what are we looking at in the East here? We're about, I would say, about a third of the way into the season right now with 28 games.
I think the Cavaliers are legit. I know Evan Mobley is just a rookie, but he is a game changer. I don't want to get too far-fetched, but I think he might be a mini Anthony Davis, and he has the potential to reach as talented.
Did you see him in college when he was at USC? Did you see him?
Yeah, I saw him play a few games, and in person when he played Oregon one time, and then I watched him on TV all the time. I knew he was going to be a stud, but I didn't think he would make this much of an immediate impact. He's just a game changer. He's blocking 2 to 3 shots a game nowadays. He can hit a mid-range. He can hit 3. He can do anything. He's a mini Anthony Davis, and I think he's what the Cavaliers needed to put them over the edge with Sexton, who's out right now. Garland's been a beast. He reminds me of a mini Chris Paul because he can pass the lights out. He just finds the open man, especially with Mobley. Jarrett Allen's big, so I think they're a legit team, and they could stay in the top 6 seed. Maybe they'll get knocked down a little once teams get healthier, but I know they're playoff bound.
Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Chicago, Cleveland, top 4. Miami, Charlotte at 5 and 6. And then I mentioned Philadelphia, Washington, Atlanta, Boston. Of the Miami, Charlotte, Philadelphia, Washington, Atlanta, Boston teams, who do you think is going to make a rise up, and who do you think is going to falter down as the season goes on, as we get to the next third of the season, Nick?
I like Miami a lot. They've somehow been winning a few games without Bam, who is one of the best defensive centers in the NBA.
Jimmy Butler hasn't played.
An absolute stud. Those are 2 all-star level players who they've been missing. I know Kyle Lowry's been stepping up. That was a big addition for them. Even Hero's been out here and there. Duncan Robinson's been hitting a lot of threes. So when they get healthy, they have a lethal starting 5. So especially with Hero off the bench, I think that's a great 6th man. So I love the Heat to make a late push when they get healthy, and also the 76ers never count out Joel Embiid, especially if maybe they trade Simmons. We'll see. They could get something from that. And then also one more thing, I found a value play for the Nets game. I know James Harden is out, so Kevin Durant's going to be taking the ball handling role. He's going to be taking that James Harden role. So Kevin Durant 9 assists is plus 112. So with Harden out, Durant usually averages 8 to 9 assists. And last game, he got a triple-double, so I think he's going to be passing the ball a lot.
All right, there you go. We'll have that at 6 o'clock Eastern on the social media selections. I like Atlanta had high hopes coming in. They're at 500, 14-14. Celtics have had injuries up and down. They have no Jaylen Brown still. They're 14-14. They occupy the 10th spot. Then Toronto at 13-15. They're postponed, as we said. Then the Knicks, who started off well, have fallen. The Pacers have played well since they got called out by their general manager and president, and of course Orlando and Detroit. So very interesting how this East is going to be. It's only a 6-game swing between 1 and 10, and with 28, 82, with about 55 games left to go on average for everybody, that's not that big of a swing to make up 6 games from 1 to 10. Obviously, the top teams will probably stay at the top, and some of these lower teams like Washington started off well, Atlanta started off well, and Charlotte started off well too, and they're going through some COVID issues as well. And I think you're right. Miami is very good when they get healthy and when they get all their guys back as well. All right, let's move on to the West a little bit. As we said, Stephen Curry was the story on Tuesday night, but the Golden State Warriors have been the story all year. 23-5, terrific defense. The unders have been hitting for the Warriors the last few weeks. The game against Indiana proved that. Indiana's playing better. We saw that. They barely got that win in Indiana on Monday night. I believe they're on a 2-game winning streak after they lost over the weekend in Philadelphia. Phoenix 22-5. We mentioned the Utah Jazz 20-7. How about Memphis? They didn't have John Morant for a few games. They didn't have Jaren Jackson the other day. Brandon Clark has been out too. Brandon Clark went to Gonzaga, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Brandon Clark went to Gonzaga. Okay.
And they didn't have Dylan Brooks for the beginning of the year too.
And Dylan Brooks too. Yeah. Clippers and Lakers. Lakers trending up, Clippers trending down. Lakers have won 3 in a row. Clippers lost last night to Utah. Dallas, they got Jason Kidd now. There was a story in The Athletic or somewhere around there about the deterioration between Luka Doncic and Rick Carlisle, and that probably had led to Rick Carlisle either mutually parting ways or being fired one way or the other. 14-14 for Dallas. Denver, kind of disappointing, but Jokic has been hurt. They still don't have Jamal Murray. They won't get him back this year. And then Minnesota, who beat Denver yesterday, 13-15. They started off good. Their defense is a lot better than people give them credit. And then Sacramento, believe it or not, is in the 10 spot at 12-17. They played Washington well last night. If they play any type of defense, they've got scorers on that team. And then you've got Portland, San Antonio with double-digit wins. Portland at 11, San Antonio 10. San Antonio got smashed by New Orleans yesterday. And then Houston, New Orleans, and Oklahoma City round out. So who's trending up and who's trending down in the West, Nick?
Yeah, so I definitely like Minnesota. I think Anthony Edwards is legit. He's got some bounce to him, and he's just a different player. I mean,
yeah, can they play any defense, though? Can they play any defense? That's always been my question about Minnesota.
Probably not. I mean, they have so much talent with Towns, Edwards, and all those other guys, but being a Warriors fan and seeing D'Angelo Russell on my team for a year, I know he doesn't know a lick about defense. So he can just he lets up a lot of points per game. So I think that's where it starts. He's a talented offensive player, but they definitely need to step up on their defensive side. So I also love the Lakers. I think they're going to make a push for the top 4, and I think they're going to take out Memphis out of the top 4. Especially, is Ja back yet? I think he has a few more weeks, but I'm not sure. But I definitely like them. And then I think Denver, even though they have an MVP candidate in Jokic, who's putting out monster stat lines every night. MPJ, Michael Porter Jr., who's been out, that hurts them a lot. Obviously, Jamal Murray's out for the year. They just have a lot of pieces that continue to go down, and they're just going deep in the depth chart, and Jokic doesn't have much help. So it's hard to do it with one man.
John Morant not listed on any injury report for tomorrow night against Sacramento. In Sacramento, Brandon Clark, the forwards out. Zaire Williams, the Stanford kid, out. Sam Merrill out of Utah State also out as well. Sacramento has Bagley, Terrence Davis, and Rashawn Holmes out, listed as out already for tomorrow night. Sacramento in their last 5 are 2-3, and Memphis in their last 5 are 4-1. Their only loss coming back on the 8th against Dallas, 104-96. But they beat the Lakers, they beat the Rockets, they beat the Sixers, actually blew out the Sixers. And then they beat Portland on the road the other night, 113-103. CJ McCollum's still out for Portland. That's going to hurt. But Dame Lillard still there, and he's always bouncing around as we go about it. All right, one last note here before we get out of here. What's your take on Urban Meyer? What an awful situation that was. I was not a fan of his when he worked at Fox. And my dad being at Ohio State, he probably was the only reason I did not like Ohio State, even though he won a championship. I just didn't like his demeanor. I didn't like the way he handled things. And clearly this incident with Josh Lambo that came out, the former place kicker, yesterday certainly did not help. And I don't know if he's angling to get himself out of there because he's not used to losing, or he really wanted to try and win, but he went about it the wrong way because this is not college, and you can't treat NFL players like that.
Yeah, one of the worst coaches I've ever seen, or at least NFL coaches. He was a great college coach, but it just doesn't translate to the NFL, and it just seemed like he didn't want to be there. I mean, after every game when he would lose, you would see his face, like shaking the other coach's hands. He just didn't want to be there with a frown on his face, didn't look happy, and you could tell the chemistry wasn't there. He called out his assistant coaches, told them that they were the reason
allegedly.
Allegedly, but I feel like, I don't want to put anything in perspective, but it seemed like he was there for the money. He signed a 5-year contract and then wanted to get fired at the end of the year because he wasn't successful. So it seemed like he kind of gave up after week 5. I know Trevor Lawrence is really talented. They've got some talent on that team, but it wasn't working. So I'm glad he's gone, and hopefully Lawrence can take a leap at the end of the year and have some confidence and towards next year and maybe get the things rolling.
That Tennessee game last week, 4 interceptions, no touchdowns for Lawrence. He's thrown 9 touchdowns and now 14 interceptions going into this weekend. Big NFL game tonight, as we said. Chiefs and Chargers. Chiefs favored by 3 or 3.5, depending on where you see it. The Chargers at 8-5, the Chiefs at 9-4. They have one game in the bag by beating Kansas City early in the year when Kansas City wasn't playing well. A win tonight will vault the Chargers from that 5 spot all the way up to the division lead. And I believe they'll be in the number 3 spot, if I'm not mistaken. No, they'll be in the 4 spot because they lost to Baltimore early in the year. So that head-to-head will not help them against Baltimore, but they will move up to the 4 spot. Kansas City will drop down to the 5 spot by virtue of the head-to-head. Boy, if they beat Kansas City twice this year, and Kansas City's hot right now, the way that they're playing, that'll be interesting to see. But the Chargers are a 3.5 point underdog going into a home game on Thursday night where they didn't have to travel, and the Chiefs are coming in off that big victory, the big smashing victory over the Raiders, 48-9. By the way, if you're the Raiders, and I said this on Monday, don't go stomp on any logos. I mean, you're not that good. Really? Come on now. You don't think they noticed that?
They got stomped on.
They noticed it. I think they noticed it to a tune of 48 points and really made you look silly. So let's not try and do that anymore. Let's be professional about this whole thing. Yeah. Lots of playoff implications this week. We will have the full Friday football show tomorrow at 1 Eastern at 10 Pacific. Charlie O will be back. We'll have Nick Robinson with us as well, too. Download us and subscribe anywhere you missed the live broadcast, Apple, Google, iHeart, Spotify, and SoundCloud. Don't forget, every day at 6 o'clock, Monday through Friday, our social media selections. You can also get to us on Facebook and Instagram as well, too. Want to thank the Britannia Arms of Cupertino again last week for hosting us. BritanniaArmsDeanza.com in the heart of Silicon Valley, 408-252-7262. And then Capitola, where I'll be on Sunday. Hopefully Nick will join me. 10 years now on the shores of the Pacific Ocean. Facebook.com/Britannia Arms Capitola, 831-464-2583. And then log in. And I know Nick did already. SuperDraft Pro is our new partner. Download the app or log in at superdraftpro.com/Vparty Sports, a new community, new opportunities, community created for daily fantasy sports for the long term, and real opportunities to win real dollars as opposed to other sites that are just not community oriented, for lack of a better word. You're on it, so tell me how you like it already so far.
It's pretty good. I need to get some more lineups in for this weekend. I love Sunday slates, but also I was going to play some NBA tonight, so I'm starting to get used to it. It's a different platform, but I love it. It's a great platform to use, and they give you free contests, especially if you sign up with the membership. And then one last thing I was going to say, if anyone has James Robinson on their fantasy rosters, you can go ahead and crack a cold one because Urban Meyer's gone, and maybe he'll start playing well again.
No doubt about it. All right, so superdraftpro.com/Vparty Sports. Nick, tell all your friends, gets the subscriptions, lots of free contests, lots of free opportunities to win some dollars. I've done it already. I've won some dollars already too, and it's a different type of daily sports site. All right, that's going to do it for us. SuperDraftPro.com, the Britannia Arms of Cupertino and Capitola. We appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Pacific for the Make the Money and Run podcast Friday football show. Charlie will be back. We'll review Thursday night football. We'll preview the entire NFL weekend and all the playoff ramifications, as well as we'll hit some of the bowl games as well. The Friday football show, sponsored by the Britannia Arms of Capitola and Cupertino and Super Draft Pro. He's intern Nick Robinson. Thanks to Joe Madden for coming on late notice. I'm Vasu Vaddiparty. Have a great day. Good luck with your games. Don't forget, we'll be on social media at 6 Eastern with our selections for this Thursday. Take care, everybody. Have a good day, and we'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock for the Friday football show.